In this series, I want to talk about how I think through solving particular problems when it comes to having an existing code base and noticing that there is something that's slightly wrong or it doesn't satisfy the actual requirements. Maybe those requirements would have changed, or maybe it just didn't meet the initial requirements of the task that it was supposed to do, and therefore it needs to be fixed in some way through some more time being spent on the project. Now, I want to show you how I think through bugs and how I sort of approach problems, and this may be largely related to the Django series that I've already done, but also this may be actually any series that I end up making on YouTube and have noticed a bug in and then just try to fix it. So this is going to be a more sort of ongoing series than the other ones, where they're pretty much introductory series, either introductions to Python or introductions to the Django framework for Python. But since I have just been working on that, a lot of the bugs are going to be related to those projects. Now, you don't need to have an understanding of those projects themselves to sort of follow along here, because I'm just going to be going through the bugs and showing you hopefully how I think through the problem, but it will still definitely help you if you have already done those series. The first bug then that I want to fix, which is going to start being fixed in this video, is going to be to do with the registration process. At the moment, with this social network application that we've been building up until part 62 of the Django series, it's a pretty much functioning social network at this point. But the registration process is a little bit buggy. The first thing I want to do is see what problem I'm trying to solve. So I'm going to try to register a new user. I think test 4 has probably not been registered before. I think the previous account we had was test 3, that was the last registered one. And I'm going to just enter some information here. It doesn't really matter too much what it is at the moment. I'm just going to say test 4. We need to remember this email because I think we log in with it, if I remember correctly. I'm going to type a password and I'm going to hit submit. And so type object user profile has no attribute objects. Now, I think what we did in a previous video in that Django series was we overrode the default object manager. So this should be quite an easy fix if we look at the user profile model. Let's have a look quickly at where this error is actually coming from. So if we scroll down, you can see, so when the form is saved, the registration form, it goes and tries to save that form. And if we keep scrolling down, you can see eventually it gets to somewhere where it does a database query. And it tries to use the objects model manager to be able to do the query, in this case to create a new user profile instance. At the moment the objects doesn't exist, so if we go to accounts models.py and I'm going to look, so yeah, we defined a new model manager called London. If we did user profile.london.create, that would actually work. I think I was just probably showing you how to create a user profile manager in this case. What I want to do, instead of deleting this or calling this objects or something like that, that's not what I want to do, because I still may want to use the London manager, but in doing so it removes the ability for us to use objects, because it assumes, okay, well, if we're overriding the manager, it's probably because we want to use this one instead of the default manager. What I actually want to do is use both. To be able to allow for that, I'm going to do objects, so redefining the manager, in other words, is just going to be the default manager. So models dot manager, and that's just going to point Django to the default one. So now if we refresh this, the development server is updating in the background, and resubmit the form, it may complain. So now we get a different error.